Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python tutorial series, and today in today's lecture we will learn about list in Python. So in our previous lecture we have seen what is an array. So an array is a collection of items of same type. If you want to group items and we have to store those items in array, then those items must be of same data type. But the major difference between a list and array is lists can have items of different data types. So in this lecture, we will learn about how to initialize a list, what are various functions in list, and how to work with list. So let's start. Suppose we have to group in elements of three types. For example, we want a string, a name of a student, then we want the age of the student, and we want his marks. And marks can be of float type. So how do we do that? Obviously we can't do this with array because all the three items are of different data type. So in this scenario we will use a list. So to initialize a list, first we will type the name of variable, and to initialize a list there are two ways. The easy way is just use this square brackets, and the other way is we can call the list function like this. Okay, so these are two ways. If I do this and if I print the type of this data and I run this like this, run list tutorial, and we can see the type is list. And if I replace this list parenthesis with square braces and I run it again, see the output is same. Okay, so either way you can do it. Now this is how we initialize a list. Now how to add items in list. So if you want to add items by yourself at a time of initialization, you can do this by just going to this parenthesis, and first of all if you want the first element to be in the name, so I can write nursery to varsity. Okay, this is the name of our student, and age, since we have started channel right now, so I think it's 1 year. And marks 99.9. okay, so this is a list. If I print this list like this, print data, and if I run this code, see I'm getting a list of like this. And as in our previous lecture we have learned about for loops. So if we want to print individual items at a time, we can do that by just applying a loop over this list. First we will apply the keyword for, and then the iterator variable I in the name of the list. Okay, that means what this iterator will do, it will iterate through all the values of the list and then return it one by one. So if I print this, so when the loop will get executed, first of all I will equal to nursery to varsity, then in the second iteration it will be equal to 1, in third iteration it will equal to 99.9, and this loop will go on till the list is over. So if I run this, you can see the output is nursery to varsity 1 and 99.9. okay, so let me comment this code. Okay, now let's make another list like this, and let us suppose it contains 20 numbers at a time, like 1 1. I hope these are 20 or somewhat. Okay, now you have been asked to calculate the frequency of each number. Like if I'm giving you the question, and I'm asking you how many times 1 has occurred in this list. So how do we do that? Now we can do it by making a logic, or by we can just iterate all over the element, and if the element is 1, then we will increase the counter variable. Okay, it's a traditional way. Okay, but the list provides us a function with which we can easily get an answer in one line. So what's that function? So that function is we can just make a variable as nums dot count, and in this count we just have to pass the element of which frequency we have to calculate. So in our case we have to calculate the frequency of 1 and we'll print s. So if I run this code, so before executing this code, let us count the number of ones. 1 2 3 4. So the answer should be 4. Okay, so if I run this code, see, we are getting answer 4. Isn't it damn simple? Yes, it is. Okay, now suppose we want to add elements on runtime. So for that, we have a special function known as append. Like in array, we have learned about the function append. Similarly, in list, we have the function append. And append just add the element at the last, at the end position of the list. So for example, if I write data dot append, and I want to append a string like YouTube. Okay, and if I put in the data like this, and if I execute this code, see, our new list is this. Okay, now if you want to let me comment it so you can copy it if you want. Okay, now if you want to merge two arrays, okay, like suppose this is num1 1 2 3, and this is a second list 4 5 6. Okay, suppose you have to merge these two arrays, so there are two ways. List provides us a method extend, like we have learned in array. So extend helps us to merge two list. For example, if I do this num1 dot extend num2, okay, then I print num1, and if I execute this code, see, the list has been appended to the num1 list. So this is a one way, and if I want to do another way, like we can simply do this num1 plus num2, that's it. And if I execute this code, see, the answer is same. Okay, so these are the two ways to do this. Now what if we have to calculate the minimum value of a list, the maximum value of the list? Yes, we can do that. Python provides us the functions with which we can calculate these or certain values. For example, if we initialize a list L, and in that we have let's say square of natural numbers 1 4 9 16 25 36, and let's write minus value also. Okay. Now I want to calculate the minimum of those numbers, so we just have to use a simple function, that is min, and we have to pass the list. And if I execute this program, so we know the minimum number is -5, and see, we are getting -5 over here. Okay, now if we want to calculate the maximum number, we know it is 36. See, it is 36. Now what if we have to access the elements of this data, this list L? If you want to access each element at a time, how do we do that? It's very simple. We just have to pass the index value, L square braces and the index. So in Python, the index starts at 0. So this 1 means it is at 0th position, 4 is at 1st position, and so on. So basically, if the length of a list is n, then the index values will range from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, so if I just print, if I want to print the element 9, then I have to just print like this, L of 2, and if I execute this program, see, 9 has been printed. Now if you want to print a range of numbers like from 9 to 36, so it can also be done by just mentioning the index, the starting index and the ending index plus 1. Why ending index plus 1? Because in Python the starting index is inclusive but the ending index is exclusive. So What is the index of 36? It is 3, 4 and 5, but we will mention 6. Okay. Now if I print it, if I execute this code, we are getting 9, 16, 25, 36. Okay. In other languages like C or C++, we have studied that index cannot be negative. But in Python, index can be negative. Like for example, if I want to access the last element like -3, one way is to just pass the 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We just have to pass L squared basis of 8. But I can do it by simply passing -1. It means minus indicates that starts from the end. That's it. Otherwise, same. See, -3. We are getting -3. Okay. So that's also a difference between the list of Python and other languages. So if you want to sort a list, so and obviously in this list module, there's a function known as sort, which will help us to sort the elements. So just we have to use that function, like L is L dot sort. That's it. And if I print L, and if I run this program, see, it is the list has been sorted in ascending order. What if we wanted to sort this list in descending order? We just have to write reversed is equals to true. And if I run this program like this, it's reverse. And if I run this program, it has been the list has been sorted in descending order. Okay. And there are further more functions, like in array we have seen insert, pop, remove. Okay, so those similar functions are also there in list. Suppose we want to reverse this list, so it can easily be reversed by L dot reverse. And if I print the list, and the answer should be, sorry, print L, and the answer is, say, the list has been reversed. Okay. And guess if I want to insert a certain element, like L dot insert. So as append function, insert the element at the end of the list. So like insert elements help us to insert at any position, which the first argument is the index value, like where we want to insert. Suppose we want to insert at the third index value, and then the element like 89. Okay, and then I will print L, and if I execute this program, let me comment these list also because we are not using it. Okay, now if I run this, see, 89 is added at the position 3. Okay, now if you want to just remove a certain element, we can use pop, and in pop we just have to pass the index value, so the element at that index value will be removed. So for example, let's just remove the value at index number 3, and if we run this, see, 89 has been removed. Okay, now if you don't want to remove elements by passing index value, we want that we pass element itself and the element gets removed itself. So we can do that by the function L dot remove, and in the remove function we will pass the element itself. Like if we want to remove 36, then we will pass 36, and if we execute this program like this, see, 36 has been removed. Okay, and if we want to delete whole list, then we can just use L dot clear, and if we execute this program, see, whole list has been cleared. If we want to know the index value of certain element, like L dot index of, we want to know the index of -1. Okay, and let us store this in S, and let's run this program. See, the index value is 6. If we count like this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so the index value has been returned of -1. So what if we want to delete a certain range of elements? We don't want to delete the complete list like the clear function does, and we don't want to remove element one by one like pop function does. We just want to remove multiple elements at a time. It can also be done by using a keyword known as del, then the name of list, and in the square parentheses we just have to pass the starting and the ending value. For example, if you want to remove this negative stuffs -1, -5 and -3, so the starting index is 6 as we have calculated, and the ending index should be 7, 8, 9. Okay, and if we print this list L and let's run this code, see, all the negative values has been removed. Now here comes the important topic, which is list comprehension. So why this list comprehension is important? List comprehension is important because it helps us to reduce the lines of our code. So for example, if we are told to calculate, if we are told to make a list of squares of natural numbers, okay, so how do we do that? So for example, we will create a variable number, then we will accept an integer output from user, that enter int value. Okay, then we'll obviously we'll loop through for I in range number. Okay, and then after looping through, obviously we don't want our first number to be 0. Okay, because 0 is not a natural number, so we want that our first iterator starts with I, so it starts with 1, sorry, and then obviously we want to loop through n plus 1 times. If we start with 0, then obviously we'll get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We will not get the end element because the outer value is exclusive. That's why we are doing this. I hope you are getting it, you are familiar with this. And then we will make a simple logic like I is equals to I. So this asterisk 2 times means power. That means I raised to the power 2. Okay, and then we will simply append it to the list, and let me create this list above like this. Okay, and after getting out of the loop, we will print the list like this. And if we execute this program, like, and we want 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, that means 5. See, we are getting the output as 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay, so if we count number of lines, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so how do we decrease the number of lines? We can easily decrease the number of lines by using list comprehension like this. Like we have to read this list comprehension from the right side. Okay, like we have to think that we are coming from the right side to the left side. Okay, so we will start writing from left side. Like first step is of looping. So for I in range 1 to number plus 1. Okay, okay, after this what we have done, like we are squaring I, then I, we have did that. So we have did that in our loop. Hopefully it's done. Now we will just print L, and if we run this, enter the value, for example we enter 6. See, the answer is same, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Isn't it simple? We can also even decrease the line of code. Okay, so if we, instead of taking input here, okay, we will take the input here, int input plus 1 like this. Okay, and we will print this whole list all together, and if we run this code and 5, see, we are getting the answer again. So in Python there are various ways which we can use to decrease a line of code. So it's up to us, it's up to our level it's just about our practice, that how much we practice, so we can use things efficiently and better. So now if you want to print the even numbers from the squares that we have calculated, so how do we do that? So let us consider our list like this. So what code we have did in our previous question, that is like this. I guess you all have familiar with this syntax. Enter int value. Yeah, so this is the code that we have did in our previous question. So what else we have to do it? So just think in a traditional way. If we were doing in the traditional way, what logic we had made, like obviously we have put an if condition, that if the number is even, then push it to the list, otherwise we don't have to push it in the list. So here also we will do the same. If I modulus 2 is equals to 0, that's it. So in this list comprehension, if statements always comes in right. Okay, there's a obvious in list comprehension there is a lot of confusion. So this confusion can only be solved when you do a lot many questions of list comprehension. Okay, so if you want to use an if condition, it always comes in the right side of the for loop. So if we just have to read the if condition in a for loop, then we have to read it from the left to right, from left to right. But overall we just have to go to right to left. Okay, so it sounds confusing, but don't worry, just practice it well and it will be on your fingertips. So let's debug it. For I, so in the first iteration, the value of I is 1, then it goes in this if statement, the condition is false, then it will again iterate to the next value, then it is 2. Yeah, if 2 modulus 2 is 0, yeah, it is true. Then the value of I will go to this statement, I asterisk is 2. Then that square will be calculated and it will stored in this list L. So if we just simply print this list like this, and if I execute this code, enter value 7, see only even values has been printed, 4, 16 and 36. So isn't it simple? So in a nutshell, what we can how we can define list comprehension, it's the same logic, it's the same way of doing an equation, like the logical thinking, the traditional way is same, just we have presented the scenario in a different way. So it look more advanced, and the line of codes are gradually decreased. Okay, so here comes the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed this video tutorial, and I have tried to cover all the major concepts of list, including list comprehension. uh, if you do like this video, then please like, share and subscribe, and you can also follow us on our social media handles, which is Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. And you have any queries regarding today's lecture, you can mail us on nerdware@gmail.com, or you can also ping us in comment section. Thanks for watching, stay tuned and enjoy learning.